I'm now going to show how to tie these buttons that I've defined in my Artisan software to a series of events to use on my Hot Top B2K roaster. So I've got the most important button definitions are opening and closing the door. That allows me to eject the beans partially. And then also, so that's button 4, button 5, and button 7 is turning on the stirrer in the cooling tray. So that's what's important here. So here's a set of alarms that I created, and these specifically all key off of changes in the bean temperature. So this was just a test roast that I set up. I wanted to see that I could control things like turning the stirrer on and off and opening and closing the hot top door to partially eject the beans. And it's all based on keying off of this alarm number 6. So this was just arbitrary. So this is where I said, let's start the process. So that was alarm number 6. I had an announcement from the computer telling me to check my variac. And then I trigger the next alarm and it says, okay, if alarm 6 has already occurred and my bean temperature has now increased by 5 degrees, so that means it would be triggered at 225, then I get this little pop-up message. And then when it gets to 227, which is 7 degrees past alarm number 6, then it turns the stirrer on. And then a few degrees later, it turns the stirrer off. So every one of these alarms is keyed on a change in the bean temperature, and they're all comparing what I had as the bean temperature in alarm number 6 or 220. So that means when I get down here to a bean temperature of 252, then it would drop the beans. So this was only testing one part of my procedure, which was keying off of changes in the bean temperature. I wanted to clarify that this text over here is something that I added. This is actually a picture of the alarm file to make it bigger so it's more legible. So my previous example, I used changes in bean temperature, but I also need to do changes in time from a previous event. So this alarm file is another test set of alarms, which is pretty close to what I used for my final roast, but it was, again, just a test. So this time, when I click the button for first crack in Artisan, that triggers event number 14. Next thing I need to do is to measure 25 degrees above that point in time. So alarm number 15 does exactly that. So once I hit 25 degrees above what it was in alarm 14, then I'm going to turn on the stirrer. So that's alarm 15. At that point, now I need to start triggering off of time. So notice the rest of these events all trigger off of alarm 15, and they have time intervals. So when I get 15 seconds beyond alarm 15, then I need to open the door. So I opened the door, and I decided when I was doing my testing that I wanted to leave it open for 4 seconds because manually I was trying to do, 2 timers and make it 3 seconds, but I probably wasn't doing it really technically in just 3 seconds. So I decided 4 seconds was more likely what I had actually been doing manually, so that's why I changed the alarm to be 15 seconds and then 19 seconds for the interval. So that means I left the door open for only 4 seconds, then I close it here, and then I have another 15 seconds, which is the increment between alarm 20 and 21. So this is all still counting from alarm 15, but that allows me to go another 15 seconds, and then I just drop the beans. So this is essentially identical to what I used for the actual decaf roast. And I'll show you that one next. So here I got rid of the extraneous pop-ups that I really didn't need. I just left in reminders about a 15-second countdown. But if you look at the construction of this set of alarms, it's pretty much identical what I did before. So I have first crack here is alarm 15. For alarm 18, I'm now going to count 25 degrees from the beginning of first crack, and that's when I start my timer as well as turning on the stirrer. So notice this alarm 20 is counting 15 seconds from alarm 18. Alarm 18 was triggered when I got to the 25 degrees above first crack. So everything else about this is essentially identical to what I had in the previous set of alarms. So the last thing I need to do is to point you to the files that I've talked about during these videos. I put them out on my website, which is called softwarepolish.com. I have a Ko-fi page out there. I'll put a link in this video, and I have a link there to the videos, plus I have a page with the supporting files themselves. There's the 2 test alarm files, as well as the decaf roast file and an Excel file. So one thing to warn you about, if you know what you're doing, you can just click the zip file and download them the easiest way. If you don't feel comfortable dealing with zip files, then you may want to click these other ones. You'll get some sort of a warning if you click on an Excel file. Trust me, it's safe. There's nothing mysterious. So if you just click continue, it will allow you to download that file. Okay, where did I go? These other files, since they are artisan alarm files, I had to change them into text files in order for them to be able to be downloaded, because most web browsers have no idea what to do with an artisan alarm file. So you can do a right click and then save the link as, and when you do that, it will save the file on your computer as a .alrm.txt file. So I just did that for these 3 alarm files just to make it easier for you to download them if you're not comfortable dealing with zip files. But if you just click the zip file, it downloads those, and then you can actually look at the zip file itself, and it pretty much looks like this. So these are the files without the funky extensions or anything else. So that's pretty much all you need to know about this, and I will indeed put links in the description for this video.